Good evening, Keith and Christine. We were just talking about the number of migrants apprehended trying to illegally cross our borders is higher than it's ever been before. In fact, the Department of Homeland Security says that its agents, they're overwhelmed, they're exhausted. Robert, you have been covering the border for years. You were just here last week. Based on the numbers that you've been seeing, it seems like the situation is getting worse.
Well, I'll answer that like this. We're only 6 months into fiscal year 2020-22, and Customs and Border Protection is already reporting more than 1 million apprehensions along the southwest border. Compare that to 1.7 million apprehensions in all of 2021, which was considered an historic high. We are in the Rio Grande Valley, which is the busiest spot along the southwest border. And the agents we rode with last week tell us they're now averaging about 11,000 apprehensions a week in this area. There's another side to this problem, though. We have a severely backlogged immigration court. It's taking years for cases to be decided, and it's also prompting thousands of immigrants to live in the United States in a state of limbo with no final solution imminent for their cases. So tomorrow, we're going to show you firsthand what we saw when we rode along with Border Patrol. We're going to talk to those living in that state of limbo, and we're going to gauge just how deep the political divide goes when it comes to finding long-term solutions to these problems.
Yeah, and many people that we spoke to today here in the McAllen area, they say and they tell us they want to be on this side of the border to give their families a safer place to live, a safer place for their children to grow up. Today, I spoke to a woman who's headed to Houston. She was detained about 2 weeks ago trying to illegally cross our border with her 2 young children. She was just released today until she's able to see a judge. And she said she's going to Houston to meet up with family, but again, for a better life for her children. And when I asked her, she got very emotional when I asked her how she feels now being safe here in the United States. ¿Qué sentiste como madre, como mujer?
Una felicidad, porque esos caminos son horribles.
I feel happy and relief because the journey to cross the border is horrible.
A veces no te alimentan, a veces...
Alejandra says sometimes they feed you, sometimes they throw you in a trash bin. The 29-year-old mother says she needed to escape the gang violence in Honduras. She knew that she had to risk her life and her 2 sons, Victor 8 and Alan 5, by attempting to make the dangerous cross.
No quiero que ellos se me
I don't want them to get lost in a violent country like that, she said. Alejandra finally made it to the Catholic Charities Respite Center in McAllen, carrying only a plastic bag and nothing else.
¿No tienes ropa para cambiarte?
No.
Alejandra says she and the kids have no clothes other than what they're currently wearing right now. I asked Victor what's the first thing he's going to do when he sees his older brother, who's already in Houston. Play with him, Victor says, and give him a big hug. Alejandra has 2 other children and a husband living in Houston. She has not seen them in years. She says she has 3 dreams. Her first dream is to be reunited with her family, to give them that big hug. Her second dream is to build a home. She says they have no home. And her third dream is to become a legal U.S. citizen.
And we'll be back tomorrow with more coverage of the border crisis. Keith, Christine.
All right, Robert and Daniella, good work out.